Time to break out the welder. Okay, today I'm going to make a stand for my English wheel over here. Here it is, sitting in its temporary home. I removed the wheels because those things are heavy. But see, it's taking up part of my workbench. It's kind of getting in the way. It's blocking my light, and it's not even like bolted down. So every time I've used it, it's been kind of a nightmare. And I designed a stand for it. I'll show a picture of it now. Maybe, if editing me isn't that lazy. And we're going to make it out of these things. So here's just a couple of the pieces. I've ground the mill scale off of places that'll be welding. I really only had to do fancy cutting on this one part, this piece, and I did that off camera because it was just grindering to fit the design. It's a bit of a burr there. But before I get the welder out, I need to make a replacement for these. These are the little brackets that you would supposedly use to bolt it down to your workbench. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to bolt it to these stands. And to do that, I got these. I got a few of these. I'm going to show you how I'm going to make these holes. And then we're going to break out the welder and piece by piece put it together very carefully, hopefully, because I don't have a welding table. So maybe it won't rock. I made it three-footed, obviously, so it's not going to rock even if it is out of square. So we'll see how that goes, because a lot of those pieces, like a couple of pieces, are bigger than my workbench here. So this will be interesting. But anyways, I'm going to mark where I want to do some drilling first on this piece. So to mark this, I'm going to kind of line this up. This is a little narrower than this, but I think it'll be okay. I'm going to line it up kind of flush on the edge, sort of in the middle. Very carefully. Whoops. I'm trying to use two hands here because I am so full of coffee that one hand just shakes way too much. There, that's roughly... No, that's not even close to dead center. But if I move the bracket, it becomes dead center. Bonk. There's one divot. I'm going to center that divot. I'm also going to be drilling these slightly oversized, so even if they're not quite right, they'll still work. There we go. Bingo. 2 little dots. Speaking of things that aren't very stable, I have this very undersized drill press from some years before I was born. I know that because this is branded Montgomery Ward's. My dad used to work at Montgomery Ward's, and the local Ward's store closed in 1984, and he clearly wouldn't have gone to a different place to buy a drill press. And I was not alive in 1984. Alright, fire up the drill. Time to make some pilot holes. Now I'm doing pilot holes with this, and then I'm going to switch to like a step drill, so I can try to keep everything centered in where the pilot hole goes. Now the pilot hole, it's not really that vital, I guess. I suppose if I had a big enough drill press, I could just go straight to the size of hole that I want and just drill that. But hey, when you're getting free stuff, you don't complain. You don't have to have a huge, fancy, freestanding, giant drill press to make little things like this. And I'm not made of money anyway. Of course, if I had enough money to buy one of those big honkin' drill press things, I wouldn't buy a big honkin' drill press. I'd probably blow it on something else, like beef jerky. Seriously though, I found some awesome beef jerky here lately at a butcher shop. And I'm not hoarding because of the whole pandemic thing, but I bought a whole bunch of that jerky. I'm not going to ration it either. I'm just going to pig out on it until it's gone. You know, the proper way to eat jerky. I just realized something. Whoops. I got a new drain hole in the workbench. Look at that. It's a feature, not a mistake. There. Now that I got one, I actually need 3 more. I need a total of 4. But look at that. Looks like I did it off camera. Yeah, I kind of screwed that one up. That's pretty far off of center. Whoops. Actually, there was one more of these. Where did it go? There we go. Now these 4 actually match up here, here, and then on the other side. You notice this goes to here. This is 2 inches this way. The square tubing I got is 2 by 2, so that if it lines up on one side, it'll line up on the side of this. But this has these thick plates here. So I got these tiny little pieces. This is all 1/4 inch thick, by the way. This is ever so slightly more than 1/4 inch. I imagine it's probably metric or something, because this is Chinesium. But that should be close enough. I mean, it's only like a mil off, maybe less. I drilled these 1/2 inch So a little bit oversized of this, but if you like stick that on the back there, you can see that the holes in this bracket fall within the holes on this, which means these bolts will go through and not, you know, they won't get stuck, is what I'm saying. And these have washers on either end, so the washers are considerably larger than the 1/2 inch, which means the bolt won't fall through either. Why didn't I just drill the right size hole, you ask? Because obviously I don't have the right size drill bit, and I'm not going to go buy one. Proper tools, those are for chumps who rely on a decently stocked tool set. Imagine I should wipe all this down because everything's all just covered in WD-40 now, and that's probably not going to work so well with the welder. Get some of that oil off there. Now I ordered all this stuff somewhere. Was it Metal Supermarket? I think it was Metal Supermarket. I don't know. Not a sponsor. They just have an easy to use website. There's a local place too that sometimes I get steal, but in this case I didn't go there because I guess I'm a bad person for not supporting local businesses. I don't know if Metal Supermarket is open at the moment, come to think of it. Since there's a general slow rate at which I get around to making anything, I actually had these ordered like a month ago, so they've just been sitting in a box off to the side. And if you tuned into the live stream last week, you would have seen me making a a stand for my bead roller, and I was using my TIG welder because I don't have much experience with the TIG welder, so I wanted to practice. And if you saw it, you would know exactly why I'm going to choose to use the MIG welder this time, because I actually don't want this thing to fail. It turns out I can't TIG weld at all, so I'm not just going to practice on a project, right? I might actually try to practice on like practice stuff, like scraps. I got that done, by the way. So I got it attached, added little footies on it so it wouldn't rock. It's three things bolted on. I do need to go to the hardware store and get some more bolts, some longer bolts. See, there's no thing sticking out front, I said, but this is dead center of the center of mass of this before I added this big honking motor on the back. So it doesn't actually tip. If I tip it forward considerably, it will lean back on its own. It is a bit rocky side to side. It has a little bit of wobble because there's like no structure down there. I'll add some later, but I just wanted to get the basic structure of the thing like standing. And it is, despite my garbage welding. So for the next part of this, I actually want to have this thing sitting sort of where it's supposed to go, so I can finish up the tacks. I've left some of the joints a little bit flexible, wherever I think I might need a little more wiggle room, just in case my angle grinding was not quite perfect, or my measurements were not quite perfect, or I actually ordered these cut like to length. Of course, any of the angles I had to cut myself. But I'm not entirely sure that the lengths are right, because I didn't measure anything. I just started building. Potentially a mistake. Of course, you're supposed to just trust what other people do, right? Their work is always good enough. Surely that's not going to get me in a bind later. No chance. I mean, speaking of this craziness, we're having trouble getting parts at work, too, because we order our parts from Chicago. We are still working, or considered essential services, so for that I'm feeling pretty fortunate. I don't reap the rewards of extra time at home, but I also don't suffer the consequences of extra time at home, like no pay. Alright, so with these on, I'm going to tack these. I left them loose so I could adjust, tack them to this in some manner. Let's see. Man, that thing is still heavy. I have to prop that somehow. Oh, and this, that rocks slightly. Idea. There we go. These are laying flat on this. This will lay flat on that. Prop up this other end. There. Now I just have that large gap to worry about. Oh, and this is cool. I can actually sight all the way up the thing, up this tube, so I can find out if this is in line with that. It's not in line. Oh, wait. No, there it is. Right there. That's in line. Cool. Okay, welder. One of the only times you're going to see me measuring stuff. Not just measuring, but clamping too. And measuring again. Not quite. Good enough though. Alright, so this next part's going to be a bit tricky. Don't have a lot of space down here, but I want to get this centered. I'm taking it as a good sign that everything is standing upright, even though this is not welded to this. Yeah, okay, that's not bad. Now I don't just have it sitting on this and that plank thing, I have these little feet. Here's one. Now these give it 3 points of contact instead of one big one that's prone to wobble if something were to get under there. They also widen the footprint a bit. And one in the back. Oh, that thing's heavy. I suppose it's a good thing that tipping it forward takes so much strength. Means it's not going to fall forward on its own, right? And there we have it, folks. All tacked up. Now it's time for an epic welding montage. Or not a montage. I'm not going to edit that.